Hollywood has never seen a drama quite like this. And I'm not talking about the movie itself. I'm talking about what happened behind the scenes. A book that saved lives. A cast that seemed perfect on paper. And a feud so intense that the two leads refused to do press together. The marketing completely ignored the actual plot, and fans walked out of the theater feeling confused, betrayed, and honestly, kind of angry. The It Ends With Us movie was supposed to be a celebration of Colleen Hoover's most beloved novel. Instead, it became one of the most controversial film releases of the decade. So, what the hell actually happened? And why is everyone so divided? Let's talk about it. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found this space. And if you've been here before, you already know we love diving deep into book adaptations, Hollywood drama, and everything in between. Today we are tackling something that has been taking over my comment section and my DMs for months now, The It Ends With Us movie. I've done videos on this book before, I've talked about Ryle and Atlas, I've shared my own thoughts on the story, but this movie situation is something else entirely. It's messy, it's complicated, and honestly, it's kind of fascinating. So grab your coffee, get comfortable because we're going to break this down from every angle. Let's start with the book itself because you cannot understand the controversy without understanding why this story matters so much to so many people. It Ends With Us is not your typical romance novel. Yes, there is love. Yes, there is chemistry between Lily and Ryle and later between Lily and Atlas. But at its core, this book is about something much heavier. It is about domestic abuse. It is about the cycle of violence and how hard it is to break free from someone you love. Colleen Hoover wrote this book inspired by her own mother's experiences, and for a lot of readers, it was the first time they saw their own struggles reflected in a mainstream novel. It started conversations. It helped people leave dangerous relationships. It became a phenomenon not just because it was romantic, but because it was real and raw and painful. So when the movie was announced, the stakes were incredibly high. This wasn't just another BookTok adaptation where fans just wanted to see their favorite couple kiss on screen. This was a story with weight, with responsibility. People were nervous. Could Hollywood handle this? Would they turn it into a glamorized love story? Would they get the tone right? Those questions were there from day one. Then came the casting announcements, and that's when the conversation really exploded. Justin Baldoni was cast as Ryle Kincaid. Now, if you know Justin Baldoni from Jane the Virgin, you know him as Raphael, the sensitive, handsome, genuinely good guy. And that is exactly why fans were worried. Ryle is not a good guy.
He is charming, yes.
He is successful, he is passionate, he says all the right things. But he is also a man with a terrifying temper. He hurts Lily. He pushes her downstairs. He becomes the very thing she swore she would never fall for. So casting someone that audiences already loved and trusted as Ryle felt risky. Some fans thought it was genius because it showed that abusers aren't always obvious monsters. They can be charming, handsome men that everyone loves. Others worried that it would make audiences romanticize Ryle instead of recognizing him as a warning. Then Blake Lively was cast as Lily Bloom. And again, the reaction was complicated. Blake Lively is stunning. She is glamorous. She is known for playing confident, powerful women. And Lily is supposed to be a flower shop owner who is sweet, a little shy, someone who feels small in her own life. People questioned whether Blake could shed her cool girl persona and really embody the vulnerability that Lily requires. I remember scrolling through Twitter and TikTok and seeing so many people saying, "I love Blake, but I don't know if this is the right fit." And honestly, that uncertainty never really went away. But the casting debates were just the beginning. What happened next was something nobody saw coming. As production started, rumors began circulating that all was not well between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. At first, it was just whispers, things fans noticed in behind-the-scenes photos, the way they never seemed to be interacting on set, the way Justin would post about the movie and Blake would post, something completely different. And then came the press tour. And that is where things got truly bizarre. Typically, when a movie is about to come out, the leads do interviews together. They talk about the story, they share behind-the-scenes moments, they promote the film as a team. That did not happen here. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni did almost no press together. They were at separate events, separate interviews, barely acknowledging each other's existence publicly. And the marketing itself took a very strange turn. Blake leaned heavily into the floral, romantic, fashion-forward side of the movie. Her outfits on the press tour were all floral-themed. She was posting about her flower shop, about Lily's style, about the romance. And Justin, meanwhile, was talking about the serious themes. He was doing interviews focused on domestic violence awareness, on the responsibility of portraying abuse on screen, on the deeper meaning of the story. It felt like two completely different movies were being marketed. One was a romantic drama about a flower shop owner. The other was a serious examination of domestic abuse. And the disconnect was so obvious that fans started to wonder, were these two even on the same page? And then the rumors of a feud started to feel less like rumors and more like reality. Sources began leaking that Blake and Justin had creative differences during filming. Apparently, they clashed over the direction of certain scenes. There were reports that Blake wanted the film to have a lighter, more romantic tone, while Justin, who was also the director, wanted to stay closer to the book's darker themes. And then there was the Ryan Reynolds factor. Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, is one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and reportedly, he was very involved in the process. Some reports said he was rewriting scenes, that he was on set giving notes, that his influence was felt throughout production. Now, having a supportive spouse is not a bad thing, but when that spouse starts influencing the creative direction of a film that deals with such sensitive subject matter, it raises questions. Whose vision was this movie? Justin's? Blake's? Ryan's? And did the final product suffer because there wasn't a unified vision? Then the movie came out. And honestly, the reaction was exactly what you'd expect given everything leading up to it. Critics were mixed. Audiences were divided. And fans of the book were genuinely conflicted. On one hand, there were moments that worked. The chemistry between Blake and Justin was electric in the early scenes. You could see why Lily fell for Ryle. The flashbacks with Atlas were sweet and nostalgic. And visually, the movie was beautiful. But on the other hand, something fell off. The tone was inconsistent. One minute you're watching a light-hearted romantic comedy. The next minute you're watching a brutal scene of domestic violence. The whiplash was real. And for many viewers, the marketing had done such a poor job signaling what this movie was actually about that audiences went in expecting one thing and got something completely different. There were people who loved it. There were people who hated it. But the most common reaction I saw from book fans was confusion. Where was the wait? Where was the conversation about breaking the cycle? Where was the moment where Lily finally chooses herself? It was there, technically, but it felt diluted. It felt like the movie was afraid to fully commit to its own message. And then there was the Ryle problem. One of the biggest criticisms of the movie was that Ryle came across as too sympathetic. Now, Justin Baldoni's performance was strong. He captured the charm and the rage. But because the movie spent so much time on the romance, on the chemistry, on the will they won't they dynamic, some viewers actually left the theater rooting for Ryle. Let that sink in. A movie about domestic abuse had audience members hoping the abuser would get the girl. That is a massive failure. That is exactly what the book worked so hard to avoid. The book made it clear that loving someone and staying with them are two different things. The movie blurred that line dangerously. Atlas, meanwhile, felt underdeveloped. In the book, Atlas is the safe option, the one who represents healing and a future without fear. In the movie, he felt more like an afterthought, a handsome face that showed up occasionally to remind us that Lily had another option. The balance was off, and that imbalance affected how the story landed. So, where does that leave us? We have a movie that made money. It was a box office success because the fan base is massive and people were curious. But we also have a movie that fractured the fandom. We have two leads who clearly had very different visions for what the story should be. We have a marketing campaign that prioritized fashion and romance over the actual message of the book. And we have a conversation that shifted from, how will they adapt this important story, to what really happened between Blake and Justin? I think the biggest lesson here is that some stories require a unified vision. It Ends With Us was never just a love story. It was a story about survival. And when the people making the movie aren't aligned on that, the final product suffers. The fans felt that. The critics saw it. And now we're left wondering what could have been if the focus had stayed on Lily, on her journey, on the women who see themselves in her, instead of on the drama behind the scenes. Now I want to hear from you, because I know this is a topic you all have strong feelings about. Did you see the movie? Were you disappointed, or did you enjoy it? Do you think Blake Lively was the right choice for Lily? Do you think Justin Baldoni should have stayed strictly behind the camera instead of playing Ryle? And what about all the drama? Do you think the feud rumors are overblown, or was there really something going on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and honestly, some of the best conversations happen right there in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into book adaptations, Hollywood drama, and everything in between, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I have so many more videos coming on the biggest BookTok adaptations and the stories behind them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. And remember, no matter what version of this story you saw on screen, the heart of it will always belong to the readers who found strength in Lily's journey. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.